विश्वं दर्पणदृश्यमाननगरी तुल्यन्निजान्तर्गतं पश्यन्नात्मनि मायया बहिरिवोद्भूतं यथा निद्रया यस्साक्षात् कुरुते प्रबोधसमये स्वात्मानमेवाद्वयं तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये बीजस्यान्तरिवाङ्कुरो जगदिदं प्राङ्निर्विकल्पं पुनः मायाकल्पितदेशकालकलना वैचित्र्यचित्रीकृतम् मायावीव विजृम्भयत्यपि महायोगी वयस्वेच्छया तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्तिः 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 सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् ॐ एवं च जीवेश्वरयोः चैतन्यरूपेण अभेदे बाधक अभावः so evam cha so after this mahavakya the result of mahavakya is this oneness between jiva and ishvara and this abhede means this oneness. With regards to this oneness, badhaka bhava, well, nothing can negate it. Once you understand that jiva and ishvara are the one thing alone, so when there is oneness in form of a consciousness, well, there is nothing to negate that oneness. That's what it wants to convey. And we have seen that the conclusion where that I am a limited being, I have a limited knowledge, well, limited power, limited will, limited pervasiveness, all this, limited scale, limited time. All these things in the conclusions, all these conclusions are is standing against my being Ishvara. And therefore, this conclusion is wrong. And so, limited knowledge is there in something, that's correct. Limited power is there, it is correct. Limited will is there, it is correct. Limited time with respect to something, it is correct. But that is not I. That's all it is. We say I is free from this. The Atma is free from this. Atma being Brahman, consciousness, well, and therefore when it's an equation, and that's a reality. That equation is a reality. And therefore, if my conclusion is that I am a jiva, etc., well, that stands against my being Ishvara. Therefore, I have to drop that conclusions. And this limited in knowledge, etc., is the quality of a upadhi. And so due to ignorance, I take myself as a upadhi, and so I say I am alpagneha, alpashaktiman, etc. So remove that ignorance, and all that is there is just one consciousness, which happens to be the Satyam. So the difference is all due to, between Jiva and Ishvara, this difference is due to upadhi, and the upadhi is mithya, and therefore difference also is mithya. So this is how we understand that way. Now, for that there is all this, they always, whenever we talk about this oneness, etc., and Atma is Satyam and everything else is Mithya, so people get a chance to do a mockery. Everything is Mithya, then why you go? Why do you go at 12 o'clock for in dining hall? Why do you go? You need not go. Well, eating itself is mithya. Then why are you going there? And then if everything is mithya, then the Ishvara also is mithya, you said. Yeah, we say that. So then why are you doing puja? Why you are running to the temple, leaving our questions and go to the temple? So these things are all there. And I mean, people can ask any kind of questions, but so we will have to see, we have to answer them properly. Anyway, so there was a king who was a great supporter of this, the Advaita Jnana Vidya and Advaita Vedanta. He was a big supporter, and he has appointed a guru of Vedanta who taught him this daily, Tattvamasi, etc. You are Brahman, etc. You are the Satyam, and everything else is Mithya. So, and then there was another teacher also, Dvaitin teacher. So the king wanted to be impartial to all the teachers, and so he also appointed the Dvaiti Acharya, and he was also teaching. But he was just teaching opposite to what this Advaitin was teaching. Advaitin was teaching Tattvamasi. You are that. You are that Satyam. You are that Jagat Karanam Brahma. And other than that, whatever is there is Mithya. All names and forms are Mithya, etc., etc. Dvaiti Acharya also has taken that. But he has little, modified in a wrong way. So he said, so in Chandogya there is a statement, Sa Atma Tattvamasi Shvetaketu. So what he did is, Sa Atma and Tattvamasi, so he combined them. Sa Atma Tattvamasi Shvetaketu. So he could get a chance. When you separate Atma and Tat, so you can take A along with. Atma Atatvamasi Shvetaketu. So that is how you can do. So if you join Sa Atma Tattvamasi Shvetaketu, then definitely you can take it in this way. You can take along with you, because I is elided, and therefore Sa Atma Atatvamasi Shvetaketu he took. So Sa Atma, that is the Atma which you are not. So in morning he used to teach that is you are that Atma which is Jagat Karanam Brahma, which is Sat in Chandogya. But he says you are not that Atma. Well, that is how he was telling. The Dvaitin taught in that way. Anyway, so the king being impartial, he would listen to both. And then Advaiti would tell, well, you are the whole, you are Ananda, etc. So it was nice to hear that. So he was little more alive in the class. And when he did not understand everything, but he was enjoying, because you are Ananda, you are everything in the creation, you are the unique in the creation, there is nothing like you and all that. So definitely at least a glory. So totally he was not able to appreciate, but he liked it. And this Dvaiti Acharya used to tell, well, he always tell you have to go to heaven, and well, nothing will happen here, etc. So he would generally go to sleep while listening to Dvaiti Acharya. And the king's attendant, he also was attending both the classes. So he told this Dvaiti Acharya that the king listens to that Advaita Guru better than you. And so the Dvaiti Guru was very much upset with him. Him also, and with the teacher also, and with that king also. This went on. One day the king was to go to another part of the kingdom, and he was passing through a forest, and with his entire retinue, including both the teachers also. Both the teachers were there. Dvaiti and Advaiti Acharya was also there. As they were walking, a wild elephant appeared, and then the first one who saw this elephant was this Advaita Guru, and he said, "Elephant," like that he said, and he ran. He did not wait for anybody. He ran. So when he ran, everybody also ran. And after this episode, the king thought, let me camp here itself for the night, and decided to go to the kingdom back next day. Then morning, at the dawn, this Dvaiti Guru went to the king and said, Maharaj ji, boliye? Yes. He said, did you see? What? Yesterday what happened? Did you see? Did you see that elephant? Yeah, it was a wild elephant. No, did you see who was the first one to run? So, who? He said that our Advaiti Guru. Oh, are you sure he was the first one to run? Yeah, the king did not understand the implication what Dvaiti Acharya wants to convey. So, was he first to run? Yeah, he was the first one to say elephant, and then he ran. Oh, that's good. The king said, what is good? He saw the Mithya elephant and ran like a shot. So why should he run then, So he says everything is Mithya. And then he runs from the elephant. From the Mithya elephant he ran. The king was very wild. Oh, Eva has been telling me and teaching me that everything is Mithya, and he ran, call him now. So then Advaita Guru came, Maharajji, pranam. Did you see the elephant first? Yes. Did you run? Yes. Do you say that this was a Mithya elephant? Yes, yes, I said to you earlier also, and today or right now also I am saying it is Mithya elephant. Then why did you run? So he said, Maharaji, that was a wild elephant, it could harm us, and therefore I said elephant, I spoke, I shouted elephant, and then I ran. Oh, but that is only Mithya elephant. Maharaji, did I ever say that my running is also Mithya? Is Satyam? Did I ever say that my running is Satyam? Who said I ran? I never ran. Then king was little fabbled, So if elephant was Mithya, my running also is equally Mithya. Atma did not run at all. So Atma is Akhandaha, Purnaha. It never runs. All running is within the Atma. If anybody tells you, if everything is Mithya, then food is Mithya, why are you taking the food? You should tell the eater also is equally Mithya. That's all. Eater is Mithya, and the eating is Mithya, and the food is Mithya. Then what is it? What is the answer? What's the question he can have? No question. In fact, Atma alone is the eater. Atma alone is the food. And Atma alone is the eating. No, it cannot be possible. Then Atma is free from all the three. Yeah. People don't understand the equation. That is the problem. To appreciate Vedanta, we have to understand both the ways. Either Atma is everything, or either you say Atma is devoid of everything. Either way you can say. Name and form being Mithya. So anything which is containing name and form is Mithya. So if Swamiji, if there is Advaita, then why do you worship? So as though worship. Everything as though. So eater is as though, eating is as though, worship is as though, Ishvara is as though, the food is as though, everything is as though. So if you appreciate Atma as it is, then you can appreciate, then this kind of question won't be there. This kind of question won't be there. So the one who ran also is equally Mithya, as the elephant also is Mithya. Anyway, it's as though is all the way, and therefore there is no Badhaka, there is nothing that can stop this Abheda, that is oneness. Oneness is the truth, and that cannot be challenged by anything. So, you cannot prove that there is no oneness. Knowledge born of this Mahavakya, etc., stay, untouched by anything. So, doubt is possible, but we can remove it. Any doubt can be removed because this is the fact. So, in the light of this fact, all doubts can be resolved. So, somebody said, suppose Swamiji, somebody will, right now you are teaching Upanishad, that's what, it has been asked to Puja Swamiji. If you are teaching, you are limitless, etc. But tomorrow somebody may come and, modify this Upanishad. Then what will happen to your this Brahman, etc.? Well, what cannot be improved upon is Brahman. What cannot be improved upon is Brahman. Brahman is limitless. And how will you improve the limitless? It's an absurd idea to improve something upon the limitless. Limitless means you cannot improve upon. That's what the limitless is. So that is the definition of Brahman. What cannot be improved upon is Brahman. What cannot be changed is Brahman. In limitless there is no change also. Anyway, what cannot be negated is Brahman. This is the definition of Ishvara or Brahman. What cannot be negated, what cannot be improved upon, what cannot be changed is Brahman. So Upanishad has a last word about you. Nothing can be improved upon in the self. Nothing. Anything, any improvement, suppose somebody comes, well, it will be always will be regarding something less, not in limitless. Always, any improvement is possible in a limited thing. In a limitless, there is no change possible. Anything else will be less than infinite. If you talk about self which is not limitless and somebody says, I am improving the self, well, then he has to talk something which is less than that limitless, right? Because, or else he was to tell that it is limitless only, then there is no improvement. So you will have to talk, if you want to change the vision of the Upanishad, you will have to say Atma is limited. That's all it means. Because Atma is limitless, if he says there is no improvement. So definitely if he says limitless, and the difference between this, or Atma is finite, etc., then the difference between infinite and finite is infinite. Is infinite. That's what. So finite and finite and finite, he keeps on improving and becomes infinite. That's no possibility. Infinite is infinite. So any vision, any kind of a change in the vision of the Upanishad will be a finite vision of the self. And the difference between the finite and infinite is infinite, and therefore nobody can better it, much less negate it. Limitless can never be negated. Try to negate limitless thing. Limited thing can be negated by another limited thing. Limitless can never be negated. And so you are Brahman. That's what it is been told. And in fact, you are not able to negation. Where is the question of Brahman? You cannot be negated. Try to negate yourself. Try to negate. You cannot negate. Which is self-evident, cannot be negated. How will you negate the self-evidence? Cannot be negated. This can be negated. If I close my eyes, etc., or if I don't use my means of knowledge, can be negated. But what is self-evident can never be negated. And therefore, Tattvamasi has no badhaka. The vision, this oneness, which is, of course, that is Brahman, which is nothing but this, Jiva, which is nothing but the Brahman, is that oneness, vision of the oneness, is non-contradictory and meaningful. That's how it has been told, abhede badhaka abhavaha. So there is no badhaka, there is no negator regarding this oneness. One cannot negate it. Anyway, now this last, there is a kind of a summing up the whole section, and then, so that is, we'll talks about the Jivan Mukti. Evam cha Vedanta Vakyaihi Satguru Upadeshena cha Sarveshu api bhuteshu Yesham Brahma Buddhi Utpanna Te Jivan Muktaha Bhavanti. So it's the result of this Jnanam has been talked here. So this knowledge is born, evam cha Vedanta Vakyaihi, evam cha, and in this manner, cha means and, evam means in this manner. And in this manner, Vedanta Vakyaihi Sadguru Upadeshena cha Sarveshu api bhuteshu. So those for whom the knowledge of Brahman in all being is born, through the what? Through the Vedanta Vakyaihi. So through the sentence of the Vedanta and Sadguru Upadeshena, and by the teaching of the Sadguru, well, te Jivan Muktaha Bhavanti, they are liberated while living. Jivan Muktihi means, it is made from the root Jiv. Jiv means to live. So Jivan is a present participle. Jivan Muktihi means it is while living, they are liberated. So this knowledge is born, which knowledge? Brahma Buddhihi, well, which is Aham Brahma, I am Brahman, which is the cause of the entire universe. That Jagat Karan Brahma, the cause of this entire universe, is you. So the contradiction is obvious as though, but the non-contradiction, well, we have seen through the Mahavakya Upadesha, and it is to be discovered through that Mahavakya alone, which is an equation. So one who understands this is called Jivan Mukta. While living, he is free. In the wake of self-knowledge, knowledge of the self, he has a knowledge of the self which is free. Self is free. Self is free from birth, death, everything. But you should have a knowledge, that's all it means. Self is free, you cannot make it free. The teacher does not make it free, Vedanta does not make it free. You are free, better you know it. Don't hold on to that idea that you are bound. Drop it like you drop a hot potato. Just drop it. What just drop it? What just drop it? It is not possible. It is not possible. But that's notion. My point is, Vedanta works for just removing the notion that I am bound. You are free. Even if you feel that I have not got a knowledge, etc., you are free. No, there is no death of you or no birth of you. In fact, you have never taken a birth. You have never taken a birth. That's the knowledge. I have never died before. And I won't die also in the future. That's the knowledge. So basically, the one who knows this, that the Atma is free, self is free, is called Jivan Mukta. So so there is one self, that is Sarveshu Bhuteshu. Here it has been told, Sarveshu api Bhuteshu Yesham Brahma Buddhihi Utpanna. So he has a knowledge that there is one Brahman which is the self of all. So I mean Sarveshu Bhuteshu. It's like, in the 13th chapter it has been told, Kshetragnyam chapi mam vidhi sarva kshetreshu. In all the bodies, I am the one who is the knower. Yeah. So you don't have that kind of a notion that I am a knower who is sitting here in this room and you people are an object of knowledge for me. No. I am the knower who is the knower in all. So that is this is a knowledge. So I mean this is sarva kshetreshu, kshetragnyam. In all, kshetram janati iti kshetragnyah. And therefore, kshetram is this body. That's why Bhagavan has defined in 13th chapter. The body is called kshetra, etc. And kshetram janati, the knower in the body. So not in this body. I am the knower knower in all the bodies. That is a vakya kept in mind when the author writes here, Sarveshu Bhuteshu. So with reference to Sarveshu Bhuteshu Saptami Vibhakti, that is Vishaya Saptami, Sarva Bhuta Vishayeshu, you can say, with regards to all the beings, all the bodies, all the minds. There is only one self, that's all. And therefore, which is Brahman, which is Satyam. So I am Atma Brahman. This Atma is Brahman, means the knower which is present in this body is the knower in all the bodies, is the knower of all the bodies, all the minds, etc. And so other than that, well, everything is mithya. Other than that means what? Other than that is this name and form, bodies, etc. They are mithya. So those who have this knowledge are called Jivan Muktaha. Living, they are free. Jivan Muktaha. How did they get this knowledge? Well, with the help of Vedanta Vakyeshu. Vedanta Vakyehi Sadguru Upadeshena Cha. So with the help of Vedanta Vakya and the teaching of the Sadguru. So Vedanta Vakya is not a pramanam actually. The means of knowledge for the existence of Atma. Because pramana does not prove the existence. One which is self-existence cannot be proved by the Vedanta. So Vedanta Vakya does not prove the existence of the self. In fact, the pramana itself exists. Before that, somebody goes to that pramana and tries to know. So that one should be exist or not. The person, he goes and operate this pramana. Well, he should be existent. And therefore, Vedanta Vakya cannot prove the existence. So this is the difference between Atma and Anatma. So Atma's existence is proven by itself. Atma is evident to itself. And everything else is evident to the self. Everything is evident to the self. If it is evident, then I say it exists. Otherwise, I cannot say. Since it is evident to me, I say Pan is. Right? So Pan's existence is proven by the self. The self's existence is proven by the self. Yeah. And therefore, self is evident to self. Pan is evident to the self. Self is evident to the self. But Pan is evident to the self, and so I say Pan is. So the existence of the Pan is dependent upon the self. That's how it becomes mithya. Whereas the self being, the nature of the self is such, self is evident to the self, means existence of self is proven by the self. Nothing else is required. And therefore Vedanta cannot help. Oh, the Vedanta tells you are, and therefore I say, okay, I am. No. So This pramana, what is the job of pramana, we should know very clearly. The job of this pramana or the Vedanta is, the means of knowledge is, it doesn't prove the existence of Atma. Atma is already self-evident, aparoksha we call. And but when you say I am a samsari, that I am is self-evident. That is proven without Vedanta. But then samsari is the conclusion. Then that conclusion is proven wrong by the Vedanta. The conclusion I am a samsari, etc. is proven wrong. So Vedanta Vakya is means for correcting that conclusion by revealing that what I am is ultimately Jagat Karanam Brahma. I am Atma Brahma. And only this revelation is the subject matter of the Vedanta. It does not reveal the existence of Atma. And because there is Atma, we are able to look into Vedanta. If a conscious being is not there, what the use of this pramana? And therefore a pramata must be present. Before pramata only operates the pramana. So pramata should be there beforehand. Then only he goes to pramana and operate it and knows. So definitely a knower who employs the means of knowledge, the pramana should be existent even before that. So without the existence of the knower, there is no pursuit of knowing itself. So pramana pravritti, which is called the pursuit of knowledge or knowing as such, is possible because the pramata is there. And pramata is not proven by Vedanta. You are not pramata is proven by Vedanta. If you say I am a pramata, drop that conclusion, etc. We'll see that. So in the operation of every pramana, the pramata does not use its will. It just enjoys the phalam of the pramana. What is pramana phalam? Knowledge. Because the pramatru does not use the will, the pramatru does not become a karta. Whenever a will is used, from pramata you have become a karta. Will, and when based on free will you do, so you become a karta. Like until I open my eyes to see an object, I am a karta. I can use my will not to open or open my eyes. Because opening my eyes is not a pramana pravritti. It's an action and that is will based. But after that eyes are open and I am able to see you, right? Now there is no will. When I open the eyes and seeing you, there I am pramata at all. I am not using my will. But then if I am using my will, knowledge will not take place. It's like if my eyes are seeing you, right? And I am seeing a particular person. And instead of that, I say, I am seeing a pen or something. Pen is right here, it is not there. But my will, based on my will, I say I am seeing a pen. Then knowledge does not take place because you used your will. Then definitely, so before you open your eyes, there is a will. You are a karta. That's an action. And once you open your eyes, that knowledge will take place. So mind is behind the eyes and the object is on the front, knowledge will take place. So pramata is one who does not use the will. That's what is required. Therefore he always, whenever you are a knower, your will is suspended. If you bring your will in the way, the knowledge will not take place. And therefore, so I am the pramata who has to be understood I have to understand basically myself, but the pramata is one which uses pramana in order to understand himself. So I expose myself to the Vedanta Vakya, which is pramana, and being a pramana, it removes the very ignorance and the error born of the ignorance regarding the self, and it eliminates all the notions. I am a karta, I am pramata, all the notions are removed. Because pramata, the will, he has suspended the will, and therefore he is able to understand the reality. If he brings in the will, definitely he cannot understand, he cannot know himself. So knowledge is always true to the nature of the object, here the self of course, and Atma happens to be consciousness, limitless consciousness, and so the pramata understands Well, that I am limitless consciousness, pramatrutvam is mithya, kartrutvam is mithya, bhoktrutvam is mithya. So long as will is there, then definitely pramanam cannot work. Pramanam only will work, means of knowledge will work when you don't use your will and you surrender. That's how Pujya Swamiji says like it. You surrender your will to the means of knowledge, and it will be always, not here, it will be always. You have already surrendered to your eyes in order to see an object. You should understand this. Otherwise, suppose if you bring a free will and then the start doubting, etc., then it won't work. Whether I am seeing a papaya or I am seeing a pen or I am seeing a person, etc., that kind of a thing. Kartum shakyam, akartum shakyam, anyatha va kartum shakyam. All this is will. Same way, what I am seeing is really a man or a pen or a fruit or what? Well, then knowledge will not take place. But you surrender your will, right? So you surrender to what? You surrender to your means of knowledge. You surrender to your senses. That's how knowledge takes place. Before surrendering, well, whether I would like to see or I don't want to see, etc., that's a different thing. But once your eyes is open, before you open the eyes, you have a choice. Once you open the eyes, mind is behind, object is in front, knowledge will take place. That's how we always say Jnanam is Vastu Tantra. So the object is known as it is, as depending upon its known nature. So in that the will is always suspended. And then Pramada definitely comes to know, since his will is suspended. If will is there, he is no more a Pramata, he is a Karta. Pramata, whenever suspends his will and to the Pramana, here the Vedanta Vakyam, Mahavakyam, then Mahavakya says, well, you are not a Pramata, you are pure consciousness, you are limitless consciousness, you are Brahman, and that is how Pramatrutvam becomes Mithya. Kartrutvam becomes Mithya. All the notions become Mithya. The Pramata, whose existence is, not proven by the Pramana, that Pramata comes to know his real nature when he exposes himself to Pramanam called Mahavakya. So this is how Pramata becomes Mithya. That's how he understands that I am not a Pramata, I am the Sakshi, witness, consciousness of this ego, etc. And so then, okay, Vedanta Vakya, so we understood Vedanta Vakya, through Vedanta Vakya we can gain this knowledge, Brahma Buddhihi Utpanna, barabar. But then what about this Sadguru Upadeshena? What is the necessity? So knowledge of Brahman is due to the Mahavakya of the Vedanta, that is correct. But why does it has been said here this by the teaching of the Sadguru. Sadguru teaches the Sadvastu as such. So Vedanta Vakya of course is a Pramanam, and so it has been told in the third, they have used the third case, Vedanta Vakyehi, to indicate it's a means. So Karanarthe Tritiya, so in order to know, well, this is the means. And also Sadguru Upadeshana also in the third case, so that also is a means. So then we feel that there are two independent means. Mahavakya also gives the Upadesha and Sadguru also gives the Upadesha. There are two means and we can choose any one means. Well, it is not like this. What is required is the Vedanta Vakya, which is taught by Sadguru. That's how we have to understand. So Guru teaches the Vedanta Vakya, and so means is the sentences that are employed by the teacher. It means the Vedanta Vakya is not independently inquired into, it needs to be employed. And we have seen that in a context it has to be the... Why? And Sadguru Upadesha is very important in as much as it's a vision of the whole as such. So one who has a vision of the whole can impart the vision of the whole. That is how it is. And therefore you have to know the whole vision in order to understand the words of a given sentence. If you take an independent mantra or even independent shloka from the Bhagavad Gita, I am sure if you don't have the whole vision, then you will take it differently at all. You will get a different meaning altogether. And therefore it is very essential that you should have a whole vision, and in that light of the whole vision you should see that particular section. Then you are able to connect. You can give a meaning keeping in without sacrificing the vision of the whole. And then definitely, so it's a problem, because a person in order to understand in order to get the whole vision, he has to understand every section, every mantra, every shloka. And every shloka or mantra gives you the meaning, proper meaning, when you have a vision of the whole. What will you do? In order to get the vision of the whole, you have to understand every section. And in order to understand every section properly, you should have a vision of the whole. How will you do? So we circumvent, this problem by exposing ourselves to a person who is supposed to have the vision of the whole, or to know the whole, one who knows the whole. And so, but how did he come to know? Because that question will immediately come. Immediately. What? I won't confine to myself. I will immediately ask, how did he come to know the whole? Well, we say it is a parampara, that is how the sampradaya extending back to the rishis. But then who taught the rishis? Well, Bhagavan taught the rishis. That is what the Sanat Kumaras are sitting around Dakshinamurti. And so Ishvara taught. But then how we will say that they were having a vision of the whole? Well, the whole parampara continues, and right now you are getting the vision of the whole. And therefore, everyone has imparted the vision of the whole. But how did Bhagavan has the vision of the whole? Kya baat kar rahe hain? This is now it is foolishness to talk about. I mean, he is a sarvajna. He knows everything. And therefore, so Ishvara is the one who is the first teacher. That's what Dakshinamurti indicates. Dakshinamurti is the first teacher. And till from there to all the rishis and all acharyas and up to our acharya, everyone has that vision of the whole. And therefore, this sampradaya only provides this meaning. Otherwise, any independent, I tell you, Bhagavad Gita is you never think that Upanishad is a little tough to understand and Bhagavad Gita is easier. In my opinion, Bhagavad Gita is the most difficult thing, even compared to Upanishad. Because Upanishad, at least you are knowing everything is connected to Atma one or other way. Or at the base, some upasana, etc. In Bhagavad Gita, several things are discussed. And Bhagavan has used also words, Atma word itself has been used in several ways. And yoga has been used and so many other things. So unless you have a vision of the whole, then you can interpret properly every shloka. So, okay, then I will have a vision of the whole. I will start from the first verse. But the very first verse requires the vision of the whole. What will you do then? So before that, even if you unlock the shloka, you should have a vision of the whole. But I cannot have, because I am starting right now. Or then somebody has to impart you this knowledge, which has the vision of the whole. That's how the parampara is very essential. So that's how said, Vedanta Vakyehi Sadguru Upadeshya. But both are required. Both are required means the Mahavakyas, etc. Well, he who is has been taught by the teacher. So, and therefore, in this context, even the Tattvamasi itself, the Tat and Tvam, the Lakshana and all that, it is all in the Sampradaya. Otherwise, it doesn't make a sense at all for us. It looks all contradictory. Tat is never a Tvam. Jiva and Ishvara, how can they be one? So this is how. So the Vedanta Vakya will tell you the truth, and the Guru's Upadesha, of course, is nothing but this Vedanta Vakya. And but then it should be Guru Upadesha. Why Sadguru Upadesha? Why again Sadguru? So Sadguru Upadesha, because every person, the teacher is one who makes your understanding, custom-made understanding, let's say that way. Who will make a custom-made understanding? Because every student's problem is different. Even though teaching is given, but every student's level is different. And therefore, every student needs some other thing along with the Mahavakya Upadesha. And even imparting knowledge, one teacher tells to a student that you should marry. I tell you, I'm not joking, I'm telling you. This is a fact. And the very second person goes and, he wanted some advice regarding all this. He said, okay, if you feel like that, don't marry. Devote yourself to this, commit yourself to this. And so between both the students met. The distance was, the span was of 5 minutes. Before 5 minutes, the person met, the teacher says, you marry. And after 5 minutes, somebody else comes and he says, you don't marry, me not. And all other things. Our teacher also gives a upadesha of even japa, etc. also. Or he says, you take up some work and do some service. All these things are possible. So it is a custom-made custom-made teaching, really speaking, custom-made teaching. Even though it is told Tattvamasi to everyone, but as the student raises a question, a specific advice has been given in order to gain moksha. Not it is within the sampradaya, but it has been, some other sadhanas are involved in that. What I am saying is some other sadhanas are involved, and teacher could understand the difficulty of a student. And so he accordingly, understanding the confusion and etc., he gives this upadesha. So Sadguru Upadesha implies any personal sadhana etc. that he may advocate for a given person, and that is the reason for the separate mention of Sadguru Upadesha. Otherwise Vedanta Vakya, even if it is told this much is enough. Vedanta Vakya, the Brahma Buddhi Utpanna. This is enough because Guru is a part of the teaching, but specifically has been told because a personal sadhana, a teacher may advocate. And now how can you say whether this person is Jivan Mukta or not? Well, so it is not for us to point out whether somebody is Jivan Mukta or not, but that's not our aim. Then if it is not aim, then why are you discussing Jivan Mukta at all? It is only to point out the nature of knowledge, you can understand. While describing the Jivan Mukta, basically you are describing the nature of knowledge. So it's a peculiar knowledge about yourself, and to point out what that knowledge should be, he says who a Jivan Mukta is. And so it is for our own assimilation of the knowledge. It serves two purposes. Bhagavan did it at three places. Description of Jivan Mukta he did at three places. That's the second chapter of Sthita Prajna section. And in chapter 12, Bhagavan described Jnani Bhakta, Adveshta Sarvabhutanam, etc. etc. And in chapter 14 also, in chapter 14, Gunatita Lakshana. So one who has become free from the three gunas. One who is abided into Nirgunam Brahma. So there also he has give a description of this person who is a Jivan Mukta. But of course, based on question of our Arjuna. Arjuna asked in second chapter also, Sthita Prajna se ka bhasha samadhisthasya Keshava. In chapter 14 also he asked, Kailingahi trin gunan etan ativartate prabho, etc. etc. How will I know this person has become free from three gunas, etc. And kimachara, etc. So, Bhagavan then started giving description. So Jivan Mukta's description has two advantages. First thing is, whatever the lakshana of a Jivan Mukta is, that is the sadhanam for a jnani. So Adveshta Sarva Bhutanam Maitraha Karunaha, etc. or Manapamanayos Tulyaha Tulyamitrari Pakshayoho, etc. Samaloshtasma Kancharaha. All this description is there. And Udasinavad Asinaha. That's in 14th chapter. All this. So, and the Sthita Prajna se ka bhasha, that also Prajahati Yada Kaman Sarvan Parthamanogatan Atmani Atmana Tushtaha Sthita Prajna Stadochyate Dukheshvanod Vignamanaha Sukheshu Vigataspruha Vitaraga Bhayakrodaha Sthitadir Muniruchyate, etc. So many lakshanas are there. Ultimately, those lakshanas, seeing the lakshana in the jnani, one who wants to become jnani should have this should cultivate all these kind of things. He has to cultivate a sameness, a little mental immunity towards our insult or toward the respect. So all these kind of things are there, lakshanas are there of a Jivan Mukta, becomes a means for the person who wants to become Jivan Mukta. That's a one thing. And second thing is also glorifies the knowledge. What kind of a nature of a knowledge also we can understand. And not only that, we definitely become envious, the one who has become free from all these kind of things. Because these all things are affecting us. And mana, pamana, priya, priya, all these several types of all pairs of opposite all the time affect us. And so we find ourselves a victim of all this. So when we learn that he has become free from that, so it's an incentive, in fact, to be, it's an incentive for us. And so one way we can look as a sadhanam, and if we want to become a Jivan Mukta. And second thing is, we get an incentive that what a nice life that Jivan Mukta has. So unless that description is there, you cannot know. Therefore it is there. But here Jivan Mukta they are describing. So in order to make you understand what is the nature of knowledge. So that is what has been told here. So we can assimilate the knowledge for our own understanding. For our own understanding it has been told. Nanu Jivan Mukta kaha yatha dehoham purushoham brahmanoham shudroham asmi iti dridhanishchayah tatha naham brahmanah na shudrah na purushah kintu asangah satchidananda swarupah prakasharupah sarvantaryami chidakasharupah asmi iti dridhanishchayarupah aparoksha jnanavan Jivan Muktah. Nanu Jivan Muktakaha Nanu. Then, so it's a question here. Jivan Muktakaha, who is this liberated person while living? Yatha, just as Dehaha Aham, I am the body. Purushaha Aham, I am the man. Aham Brahmanaha, I am a Brahmana. Aham Shudraha, I am Shudraha. Iti, thus, Dridhanishchaya, one who has this kind of a firm conclusion before self-knowledge, of course, that I am a Shudraha, I am Brahmanaha, I am man, I am the body, etc., etc. Tatha, in the same manner, Aham na Brahmanaha, I am not a Brahmana, na Shudraha, not a Shudra, na Purushaha, not a man. Kintu, on the other hand, but Asangaha, I am unattached, Satchidananda Swarupaha, I am the nature of existence, consciousness, fullness. Prakasha Rupaha, I am the nature of effulgence. And Sarvantaryami, I am the indweller in all the beings. I am Pratyagatma of all the beings. Chidakasha Rupaha Asmi, in the form of all pervasive consciousness. Iti, thus, this kind of a Dridhanishya, this kind of a firm conviction he has. Dridhanishya Rupaha Aparoksha Jnanavan, one who has this firm, abiding, immediate knowledge, and he is the person who is called a Jivan Mukta. He is the person he is a liberated person while living. So this has been told here. So people have this kind of a firm conclusion. Dridhanishya means firm conclusion. What is the firm conclusion everyone has? Well, if you ask to a person, you will come to know what is his firm conclusion about himself or herself. I am a man, I am this, I am Brahmana, I am Shudra, everything. So he will first give his name. And who are you? For somebody who asks, he will first give his name. and then ask him a little more about himself, and well, depending upon his culture, status, etc., he is going to answer further. And well, and all this of course, this is all traditional. Aham Brahmana, Aham Shudra. Nobody speaks like that today. But they will speak something else. They speak something else. But ultimately, all that is his Drada Nishchaya about himself, his fun conclusion about himself. All this reveals one's identity. And because one has identified with all this. When he says, I am a man, he has identified. Yeah, self is not identified to anything. So all these kind of conclusions will not be there. He says, I am self. This is how it is. So one who identifies with many things, in his identity, self-identity, all this narration will be there. That's how I say it. All, that biography, or that autobiography, 500 pages. Regarding self, if you want to write, you can write only in four lines maximum. 4 lines, sufficient. If you want to start writing regarding I am Brahman, you cannot write 500 pages. I'm sure. No, you cannot write 500 pages. So because you have identified only with the self, that's a self-identity. The self-identity is a one where you have not identified with the non-self. But then all this is wrong? No, we don't say it is wrong. So I am man is correct? Yeah. And I am not a man is also correct? Yeah, that is also correct. What are you talking? Anyway, it is going to be over. We are tired of you now. So I am man is also correct. I am not man also is correct. I am not man, etc. is a view. I am a man is a point of view. So it's okay. Then why are you negating? Because you say I am man. You do not have a view and you are saying I am a man. That's your view. We say it is a point of view. You have a view that I am man. Plus you think that you are the man only. We say it is just a point of view. View is something else. View means you are everything. Then you say you are man. No problem. Yeah. You are knowledgeable, you are engineer. Say that. No problem. And that's what we say even after knowledge. Even a jnani says after knowledge, continues. Yeah, he says that I am sannyasi and I have to go this place. I have to become acharya of this and so place. I have to preside over this function. All this he says. And he will say he is a traveler, he has to travel from here to India and this and that. Several things. All this he says. Well, that is all but point of view. Because he has got a view. View is, if you have a view, then all this becomes so-called self-identity under the spell of ignorance is point of view. So I am ignorant also is right and I am knowledgeable also is right. Both are right. But I am free from ignorance and knowledge is the view. And then I can say I am ignorant and I am knowledgeable. I am engineer and I am ignorant of a so-and-so discipline of knowledge. Everything is correct. Anyway, so the Jivan Mukta does not take any one of them as the nature of the self. In fact, in his understanding, well, all these do not feature in his self-identity. So whatever he thought about himself well before, now stands negated in terms of, then you can use it, but while he is getting a knowledge, he negates, well, I am not, etc. So all this can be point of view, but they are not intrinsic properties of the Atma. And so Jivan Mukta recognized that I am asanga, uninvolved, non-attached to all this thing. And he cannot be, he even if he wants, he cannot be attached to non-self, because non-self is basically a non-separate from the self, which is a mithya thing. You cannot attach to something which is mithya. You can attach to something which is satyam. And therefore, even if he says, well, that I am body, etc., that is not correct. So, anything that you say you are, well, which is not exactly the nature of Atma and has to be negated by appropriate word. So, he has a fun conclusion. I am a Brahmana. Now, that's before self-knowledge. So, he has to say just opposite to that. That is also now fun conclusion. I am not a Brahmana is a fun conclusion. I am Brahmana was a fun conclusion earlier. now I am not a Brahmana is a firm conclusion. Then who is that person? Jivan Mukta. This is how it is. I am a Brahmana under the spell of ignorance. Now he says I am not a Brahmana. Both are firm conclusions. Earlier that was a firm conclusion, I am a Brahmana. Now he has a firm conclusion, well, I am not a Brahmana. And that person is called Jivan Mukta. So same way, for everything you can take. I am Karta. Now he says I am not a Karta. I am a Manushya. Now he says I am not a Manushya. Firm conclusion, understand. Not vagueness. Vagueness, if vagueness is there, you are not free. If you say I am okay, I'm not a human being, okay. Okay, or you may say Shastra says I am not a human being. If he puts that, Shastra says I am not a human being. Shastra says you are limitless. Oh, Shastra says I am limitless. Then now it is still a lot more to go. Anyway, that's how they say Dhrada Nishchaya. Very clearly said, firm conclusion should be there. Vagueness should not be there. See, there are two things, doubt and vagueness. Now he may not have a doubt because of Shravan Mananam. After Mananam, no doubt. Mananam's job is to remove the doubt. But then, that Dehatma Samskara is there. So, all the time, and therefore when he is in the class, he says, yeah, I am Brahman, not Brahmana. Once he gets up from the class and goes to our dining hall, he has his understanding. In his awareness, he is the body. Or he is hungry, whatever. And therefore, definitely, that is called vagueness. The vagueness is brought about by this viparyaya. So, Dhrada Nishchaya. So, Nididhyasanam does this job. Making you, with a firm conviction. That is called Nishtha. Nishtha means this kind of a clarity, no vagueness. So doubt and vagueness, two different things. Doubt has gone with the Shravan Mananam. It has totally gone. That is the effective Shravanam, including Mananam. We don't separate. In as much as Bhashyakara itself creates so much doubt through Purvapaksha, or our acharyas create questions, so many things and answers and all that. So Mananam is a part of the Shravanam. It goes together. It's a different thing, of course, but both go together. So Shravanam, Mananam. Now I have completed Shravanam. I am right now in the process of Mananam. That kind of a thing is not there. It is not there. Shravanam, Mananam goes together. That's the beauty of the Sampradaya. They will create in you so many doubts and then answers also. And therefore Mananam is over. But definitely this Viparyaya is there, that one has to work upon. Acharya may say you several times you are not Deha and you are not this, you are not this. But all the time I say I am Deha, I am this, I am that. And therefore that will be there. Dehatma Samskara is there. And that Dehatma Samskara is there till then the knowledge, even though free from doubt, has a vagueness. So Nishtha means the vagueness has to go. This Nishtha means vagueness has to go. Just as you were telling earlier that I am Brahmana, without any doubt, without any vagueness, well, I am Brahmana. Same way, with the same Dhrada Nishchaya, with the same firm conclusion you say, I am not a Brahmana. Well, then I am Jivan Mukta. Okay? This is how we understand. The difference between Ajnani and Jivan Mukta is this. Both have a firm conclusion. One has a firm conclusion that he is a body. Other has a firm conclusion, I am not the body. That's the difference between the two. Asangoham. So, Asangoham, that's all. Even if he says I am Asanga, and he is clear about what is the meaning of that Asanga, then he has become free from all the notions which earlier under the spell of ignorance were there. And so, Sat Swarupoham, I am the one because of whom everything has existence. I am very existence and everything has existence because of me. Then Chit Swarupoham, I am the consciousness and everything appears because of me. Everything illumines because of me. Everything is evident because of me. I am self-evident, self-conscious, self-existent. So if you say I am ignorant, Ajnani, etc., he says no, Prakasha Swarupoham. So I am in the form of light of consciousness. I mean, all that is consciousness, because of which ignorance comes to light. I mean, I light up everything. Consciousness lights up everything. Consciousness lights up ignorance, consciousness lights up thought, consciousness lights up the mind, senses, prana, body, all the names and forms. I am the one who lights up entire world of names and forms, including ignorance. Everything, including ego. All. Ignorance is the most basic, so I take that way. So all that is there is consciousness, because of which even ignorance comes to light, ignorance gets illumined. I am witness consciousness. So earlier he was telling I am ignorant, now he tells just opposite to that. Earlier I was telling I am Brahmana, now he tells opposite to that. I am not a Brahmana. Same way, earlier I was telling I am ignorant, now he tells I am Prakasha Swarupa. I am the very illuminator of everything. I am the very light, the light of consciousness. And Jnana Swarupa, basically it is the Jnana Swarupa. So, if you think you are confined to this body, mind, sense complex, well, he says I am Pratyagatma. Pratyagatma means inner self of everything, and this is, inner self of everything is exactly like the clay is the inner self of the pot. We have discussed this thing. Pratyagatma means not that inner means there are some covers and under that it is there. I am the very essence of everything. Even a cell here, I am essence of that. Everything of the entire gross body, entire subtle body, I am the essence. That's all. Without me, they cannot exist. They become zero. If I am not there, they are zero. I am the very essence. If the clay is not there, pot is zero. So clay is a pratyagatma of the pot. Don't think it is, pratyak means actually inner, but don't think it is inner like that. It's inner, but it's the essence of everything. So being the inner self of everything is exactly like this clay being the inner self of pot. And where is clay? If you ask, well, we look inner atma of the pot, you say, but that is pratyagatma, it is slave. It is. And sarvantaryami, so also sarvantaryami means you are if you say sarvantaryami means you are not inside, outside actually. To that we say you are, anyway, sarvantaryami is basically not confined to this one body, mind, sense complex. This sarvantaryami actually basically we use with a Maya Upadhi, but here it has been told like that, so we'll consider that way anyway. So you are not someone who is locked up, confined to this one body, mind, sense complex. You are confined to all the body, mind, sense complex. So is sarvantaryami. And well, if you say as a sarvantaryami, you are antasan yamayati iti antaryami. That is how it has been told. Antasan yamayati. Remaining inside, he controls everything. It is like that actually. And that is generally used with the Ishvara. Of course, there is no, but with the Maya Upadhi, we put this word for Ishvara. And so he is in the form of order. And so anything is like the sun is a sun. He doesn't have any choice to become moon. He doesn't have any choice to become another star or other than the sun. So why it is like that? Because there is antaryami present there. So sun is only sun because of the antaryami present in the sun. Moon is a moon because of the antaryami present in the moon. So he is a very order. When in the form of order, he is very much there. Anyway, so sarvantaryami will come as Pujya Swami describes. So, well, we will say that he is not confined to one body, mind, sense complex. He is confined to all. Sarvantaryami, confined to all the body, mind, sense complex. And how did he confine to all body, mind, sense complex? Well, as a pratyagatma. Okay? So as a pratyagatma, as the inner self, means as the essence of the every body, mind, sense complex. So this is how we say. Further we will see tomorrow. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.